So how do we unlock the black box of claim management? So basically there's three main areas in technology. There is digitalization, there's workflow management, and there is what we call process automation and robotics. So these are not the funky little men in suits. I'm talking about robotics, which are software programs which are able to manage part of that process. So I want to zoom in on each of those three areas. So digitalization. If we start defining digitalization, that basically means we are creating digital enabling assets to become more relevant to its customers and its members. So it's got the 3 Ds in them. It's got digitize, so make it digital. Differentiate, so differentiate is becoming more and more important for all the partners in the ecosystem. Why? The back end is becoming commodity. It's just commoditized. It's a service you can buy. The differentiation is at the front end. So the differentiation will happen with digitalization. And then thirdly, disrupt. So if we look at the insurance claims management processes, in the past 40 years, they've basically been the same. Nothing has changed. Now, those processes will be disrupted by the introduction of workflow management and digitalization. So traditionally, the industry always worked with a push channel. So for example, a phone. So that meant that they got a phone call from a call center, they got a phone call from a broker. That is changing very rapidly from a push towards a pull model. So that basically means that there is a lot of interaction both ways by bringing information back and ongoing dialogue with the customer. So it's not only push anymore, like an SMS, for example, but it's ongoing interaction, and that's a big change in the industry. If we start focusing a little bit on digitalization, everything is focused on convergence. So that means digital media, technology, and platforms are coming together to optimize and improve communication between the relevant parties. We call that an ecosystem. All these parties are sitting in an ecosystem and they are becoming digitalized right now. Why? Because there is no difference between private and work anymore. It is all converged, it's all merged. So I see a lot of people here at the conference, I'm laughing about it, I made some comments about it. Some of the people are actually walking around with 3 phones. So there is one for work, and you know what I'm talking about. There's one for work, there's one for private, and there's one for the girlfriend or the boyfriend. You have 3 phones. That means that work, private, and whatever else happens are basically being converged. And that's going to be a big change. So what you'll see is those devices will all become one down the track. And work will be merged with private. So how are, let's say, the bigger parties in the ecosystem handling that? So if we look at the large insurance companies, and local as well as regional, super regional, and global. So what are they doing? And I don't know if you followed that, but basically they have realized that after 40 years they need to start doing something. So all these large insurers and also the large broker firms are setting up innovation labs. Yeah? So we got many of those. You see very senior executive management being promoted in charge of such a digital lab. And it's basically a shortcut. Because those large parties, they realize that if they keep it in their existing own ecosystem, it will take years to make those changes. So what they're actually doing is they lift it out of their traditional environment, put one of their hotshots, the biggest talents in charge, in the hope to achieve some savings in cost and in time. And that's what it's all about. It's about speed to market. Yeah, so these days we see a lot of appointments of digital and innovation EGMs, basically to create shortcuts. The other thing is all these parties in the ecosystem, they're sitting on a lot of data, right? If you look at some of the large insurers, they're sitting on 30 to 40 years of data, and that data is absolutely gold. Also there what we're seeing is when those larger companies are trying to do something with their data, it's taking months, and in some cases even years. So we see a lot of those larger organizations now taking data out of the organization, create a separate entity, work together with some of the partners out of the ecosystem, or with some of these technology vendors, and create a separate entity to work on that big data and create that competitive edge and differentiate themselves at the front end. So that means, for example, they use their data for predictive analytics. I'm not sure if you're familiar with that, but predictive analytics is basically a tool set which predicts customer behavior, yeah? And can basically offer new products to the customer very quickly. So therefore, in exchange, the organization gets a full insight in customer behavior, and it's also a lot about risk mitigation. Also, by getting an insight in that buying behavior, customized pricing can be done. And that can be done with a flick of the switch. So not large pricing tables, models, it is really a push on the button, and there will be customized pricing. There will also be what I call customer-led demand, consumer-led demand. So basically the consumers will define products moving forward, not the insurers themselves. Big, big, big change. And all these changes we have literally already seen in the banking industry. It's now only where the insurance industry is picking that up. So that means down the track, and that could be as soon as in the next couple of years, we will see a lot of personalized insurance products. We will also see a lot of what I call cross-selling of products. So it's not buying a live product from insurer B and a motor product from insurer C. It's actually converging as well, and it's very personalized. On the insurance estimate side, because there is so much analytics done, modeling done on the historical data, we're basically talking about insurance estimates also with the push of a button, one click. In all that, so I'm talking a lot about technology, but let's not forget that human interaction remains key. Yeah, we still need to communicate with the partners in the ecosystem and also the end customer. But our distribution channels will change as a result of digitalization. I will see a lot of distribution, like in banking, what's happened in the past 10 years, focused towards the digital channels. Either that be a mobile phone, a tablet, or the private or work computer as well. And push and pull, subtracting data, pushing out data.